We did it! I ran 2:49 at Valencia Marathon on the weekend, and here is my full race recap. Let's get into it.
Real, wow. Oh, nearly there! You're nearly there! Oh, God, ready! Oh! He's done it!
In this video, I'm going to discuss my thoughts on the race over the weekend, what I learned, what didn't go so well, what went amazingly, and then at the end of this video, I'll talk through my goals for 2025. Firstly, as you can see by this shoe, my left toe completely exploded, and this happened very early on. This is something that I was very conscious of because I wore this shoe in a 10K and half marathon race, and they did feel very snug, but I thought I'd get away with it. I just kind of wanted to override the fact that these are very quick shoes. I'd rather run fast and be in kind of a tiny bit of pain, which is probably stupid, than go for a different shoe that's not as quick. But essentially, around 8K in, I could feel basically my big toenail smashing against the side, and I knew it could be an issue. Luckily, I didn't actually see the blood, but they've seeped completely through the trainer, as you can see there. Luckily, I didn't see the blood until I actually finished, but that could have easily thrown me off and took me off the pace. But let's get into the actual race and my thoughts on the event. So firstly, I have to say Valencia Marathon, what a race that is. I'd highly recommend if you're thinking of doing one next year. It's a super flat and fast course, so I knew this was my opportunity to break 250. For those of you that don't know me, I started running roughly a year and a half ago and did my first marathon in London earlier in the year and got a 253. And then this was my second marathon and we achieved 249. In terms of the differences between the two, there wasn't too much, but one thing I did try and be conscious of is on the longer runs, the weekend runs that are over 30 kilometers, I did try and choose somewhat of a hilly route rather than always doing flat routes. So it made achieving marathon pace during long efforts much harder, but it was very rewarding because I gained a lot of fitness from it. But other than that, the block was fairly similar. I did some different sessions. My peak mileage was similar, but I sustained it for a longer period of time in this block versus the last one. So my total distance covered across the week was much larger, and I stayed injury-free this block as well, which is an added bonus. In terms of the actual sessions itself, I had pretty solid sessions. I'd say I'd only had one or two really poor sessions where I just couldn't hit pace. But other than that, it was very successful. And one thing you have to be conscious of in a marathon block is that you just have to get over it. You basically just have to push through your sessions. You're going to be tired, your legs are going to be fatigued, but it's really about consistency and just focusing on what you need to do on that very day. Once you stay consistent for a period of 8, 12, 15 weeks, however long your training block is, you will see the results. And if you do hit your marathon pace in each of the sessions, then it is likely that the race is going to go in your favor. One thing that I did slightly differently in this prep was my taper. So I massively dropped off volume in the London block. As I said, the peak mileage was similar, but every week thereafter was a down mileage. And then my last couple of weeks, I really wasn't running a lot. But having learned from that, I didn't realize how quickly you can not necessarily lose fitness, but you just lose that bite. You lose that speed in your legs, and sometimes resting too much isn't the best to get your target marathon time. So this time for Valencia, I kept pretty high mileage all the way through. I was still running over 100K per week, 2 weeks out. And even the week before, I was running quite a bit and even quite a lot of intensity too. I just didn't want to lose my sense of what marathon pace should feel like, and I definitely didn't want to lose any fitness. In terms of the actual race strategy, I knew I was in sub 250 shape. I thought maybe I was even could have gone a little bit quicker, but that was all determined in the second half. The first half was all about control, holding back a little bit, and fixing at around 4 minutes per kilometer pace, and not really thinking too much in terms of per kilometer or what I was running at currently at that second. I was breaking it down into 5 kilometer blocks. My watch would vibrate every 5K, and then I knew roughly I was on track. Luckily as well, when you're doing such a big race like Valencia, you're going to be around people who are finishing roughly the same time as you. So it's quite nice at the beginning. You can almost just go out like a sea of people all running roughly at the same pace, and you know that you're going to be on track. In terms of what didn't go so well for this race, I cramped up a little at 40k and it scared the shit out of me. So every time that I was landing on my left side, it got kind of like a quick vibration up my leg, and I just didn't want to go too fast. I felt like I just didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk having to walk because I just did not have time to waste. So I held back a little bit. The 40th K was my slowest kilometer, and then I had some water and luckily it went away. The other thing was nutrition. I stupidly, on the morning, decided to take one less gel than I had planned to. This was because I was packing all my stuff and it just felt awkward and heavy. And I was calculating and doing the maths of roughly how many carbohydrates I needed, and I was like, oh, I could probably get away with one less. So I took 5 gels with me instead of 6, and then had an absolute nightmare. Around halfway mark, I was having my gel, picked up a water, and as I picked it up, I dropped half a gel on the floor, and I couldn't turn around. I just didn't want to stop and lose momentum, so I just kept going. And that meant that I ran out of gels too early, and I had a sudden panic. I was sort of looking around, asking other people, like trying to get some water or gels, and then everyone obviously ignored me. I then found myself at the next station taking a random gel, which I never recommend. Never take fuel that you haven't practiced in training, but I just wanted to take one, put it in my pocket just in case I was absolutely dying and I needed a top up. I ended up actually having that gel, and thankfully it sat well on my stomach, and I don't think I would have got my target time if that hadn't happened. So lesson learned, take the amount of gels that you require, or probably take spares as well with you just in case you drop one. So in terms of future planning and next year, I can't believe how fresh I feel given I ran the marathon 3 days ago. After London, I literally couldn't walk and I was still feeling it 2 weeks after the event. So I'm already back training again, not obviously full volume or full intensity, but a lot higher intensity than I anticipated. And this is something that I wanted to do anyway, because after London, I really took my foot off the gas. I didn't have anything planned for the future. And then I lost a lot of fitness over the summer, and then it took time to build that up again. Whereas this time, I want to maintain, if not gain fitness, I want to keep going. And the plan is Berlin Marathon in September 2025. This will be my 3rd ever marathon, 2nd world major. The first one in London, 2:53, the goal was sub 3. The second one in Valencia, the goal was sub 2:50. The 3rd in Berlin, either sub 2:45, or who knows, it's still a long way away, we can even go sub 2:40. Thank you for watching this video. I do really appreciate those that have supported me along this journey. Make sure to click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.